Good day, everyone. Welcome to the weekly note of GTC Traders. This is a feature we do each week, as you can tell if you click on the little category for the GTC weekly note. This is something that we do each week. If you are new, I am the senior partner of a separate private proprietary firm, and we decided, hey, how about we put our weekly note up? We're not by any means the only one that does a weekly note. This is something that's very common among many firms, weekly note or a daily note. And we thought, hey, how about we just make this real easy on ourselves? How about we just copy and paste sort of our weekly note from our private proprietary firm and put it over here on GTC Traders. So that is what we do. And the article itself has all of the vagaries usually of different thoughts as far as the economic calendar for that week and what we see in interest rates and various markets. If you're sort of curious about a weekly note, if you go to the GTC Traders YouTube page and you look at something like the playlists, so you click over at the playlists, come down here, go to the GTC weekly and daily note playlist, look at the full playlist. The first three, maybe even the first four videos really describe why so many firms do this. Okay, so why so many firms have a weekly and a daily note, really what is the value of a weekly and daily note, what it is and what it is not. So that's just for folks who are new. And then, as I will now, I usually yabber on about the vagaries of each week. So for the week of December the 10th, December the 11th, 2023, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is, I would say this month really highlights something that we've been going over just a bit in this Trading is Gambling series, right? So if you haven't caught that, it's all been text articles, so it's not been YouTube videos. We are going to complete that, however, with a podcast. Rob and I have talked about doing a podcast together that really cements, we hope this cements in the minds of new traders. Professionals know this, but the trading is gambling, period, flat out. And there's a lot more to say on that. We're going to have articles, and then we're going to tie it all up with the podcast. So in that, at a certain point, you have to just make a call, right? And that's not prediction. So in the last entry, we were talking about you cannot predict the future, right? It's stupid to think that with any absolute certainty you can sit here and predict the future. You can't. And I don't know why. This is something I'm going to talk about in the next entry. I don't know why every newer trader wants to argue that point. And I think it's important for me to try to figure out why they want to argue that point so heavily. But trading is gambling. And we said that you cannot predict the future. Don't think you can try. And then there was well, I've got to set up an analysis. It's well, yippee-da for you. What do you think? Every professional firm on this planet is going around without a process, just winging it? I mean, there are pure discretionary traders, and there's a place for that. But come on. I mean, honestly, grow up a little bit, right? However, and there's something else that DTG, Discovery Trading Group, has said for a long time, and I sort of like it, is that in the end, all analysis is sort of bullcrap. It really is. But at the same time, sort of the dichotomy of that is at a certain point, you got to make a call, right? You have to lay the bet. So that's not like a prediction. It's I think. And there's nothing wrong with I think. So, and at a certain point, gambling becomes, I think, right? Completely separate from this whole concept that anybody's going to be doing anything with absolute certainty or some sort of absolute prediction. That's just nonsense. I don't like the word prediction. I don't like it used around me at all in any case. I don't care if it's arbitrage, and I just don't like it. This is just a personal Dan thing, right? I just do not like that term because scientifically it's impossible. We went over that in the last entry. I say all of the preceding to say, but at a certain point you got to make a call, right? And here we are on the calendar of December 2023. I've talked about this before. Every time we enter this last month of trading, it's sort of when am I going to hang it up this year? When am I going to how far away from the 31st do we get before I'm yeah. I sort of am this month already. Honestly, with any sort of live trades, as we've been saying on the text articles, and if you're not subscribed to the text articles, all you have to do is Go to GTC Traders, go to articles, and there's a little subscribe by email link there. But at the beginning of each month, right, there's like a free 40 basis points. I think this month so it's a little less because when I went out on the secondary market to buy bills, 30-day bills, the best they could get me was, I think, like 27 days or something. Because you got to understand, it's not just 30-day bills that are being bought off that secondary market, right? Heck, it may have started off as a 1 year. It may have started off as a 6 month, right? And now they're just trying to find what's in the market for you to purchase that approximates a 30-day bill if there's not a, necessarily 30-day bill. So that being said, we've been doing that at the beginning of each month, right? I mean, it's a free nearly 40 basis points. 40 if it's a secondary and it's not exactly 30 days, then it might be a little more, it might be a little less. And they ask you about that when you're getting filled on it. So, like I say, see, this is the Duke of decimalization coming out at me. I'm trying to be very precise. It's somewhere around 40 basis points for the above reasons. So we've got our positions in the GTC sample portfolio. We've got that free 40 basis points coming in. And I got to tell you, the last 23 months, myself personally, obviously not GTC. GTC's younger than that. GTC Traders is only a few months old. However, I've been beating the S&P 500 index going on like 23 months. Actually, maybe even a little more. I'm not sure. I haven't played around with those dates. So at a certain point, you got to make the call of when do you okay, I think we're range bound, and even if we're not, the S&P 500 has a bit to catch to me, plus I'm getting a free 40 basis points. So, right, I think the major date this week is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow we get CPI information. So CPI, and then I like looking at CPI less food and energy. That's another thing. It's fascinating to me the number of people that complain, oh yeah, well, that's without, food and energy. And it's like, that's a beautiful look, man. De-aggregating that data so that, because with food and energy prices being so volatile, to get a look at a lot more of a core of what consumers have to deal with and how food and energy is influencing all of the other items. God, thank God that they do that. Right. So, but that's tomorrow at 8:30. And I think that's the pivot point. But I think that's going to be the pivot point is tomorrow at 8:30. What do we get for CPI? I don't know. As everyone knows, I'm very much in an evaluation stage. They can't seem to get it down to 2%, and they're going to want to. And I think the idea of moving the goalpost on the inflation target is just for what? For being able to claim a win? That's just stupid beyond all measure. And paving the way for more structural inflation. So I think tomorrow is going to sort of be the pivot. I think if that core, less food and energy, I'm not talking about core PC, or anything like that, but I'm just talking about CPI, less food and if that comes in sticky, that's going to be a problem for the market. And I don't see how we rally much more. That's sort of the call I'm taking. I'm thinking we're range bound, but it depends on tomorrow. Right, and I've got that free 40 basis points coming in. We've enjoyed a nice rally. Some premium sold before came in. It's all becoming a booked profit. I tried to find some more options trades at the beginning of this month, but the problem was the premium, the implied vol was just so low that I couldn't really find anything juiced up that I wanted to sell. So we will see how running the clock out goes. And I think a lot of that's going to have to do with the data coming out tomorrow. Plus, what else we got this week? Hold on a second. We got FOMC this week too, don't we? Let me take a look down the calendar. Yeah, we've got FOMC on Wednesday. So this is going to be a bigger week for the calendar with inflation and then the FOMC. We will see how that goes. And as we run the clock out for 2023, hopefully the last 2 weeks don't sort of punch me in the face, but you got to be used to that, and you got to be prepared for that when trading. So that is what it's been. That's been our thoughts as we look at the week, and that has been what it's always been. It's simply been our thoughts, not yours, for whatever the heck day it is. As always, stay safe, trade well, and remember that love doesn't cost to die.